The family car turned slowly, its tires crunching softly on the gravel, the winding road. Ahead, perched on a gentle hill, was their new home, against the graying sky of November 1st, 2025. It wasn't grand, but it stood tall, its pale, peeling paint giving it the look of a tired but proud old lady. The windows were dark, like vacant eyes staring out, overlooking the small town below. A weathered wooden sign hung crookedly from a post near the overgrown driveway. In faded, looping script, it read, Willow End. A long, unkempt path snaked its way up to the heavy front door, disappearing into the shadows of the porch. It was the kind of house that held stories, and they were about to write a new one. Maya squeezed her son Sam's small hand, feeling a little tremor of excitement, or perhaps it was nerves run through him. At 8 years old, Sam was a sponge for atmosphere. He turned to them, a broad smile stretching across his face, and killed the engine, the sudden silence amplifying the rustle of autumn leaves, full of hope for this new chapter. He'd found a good job nearby. This quiet town, with its promise of peace and a slower pace, seemed perfect. The house had been unbelievably cheap, a detail that now felt both like a blessing and a tiny, nagging question mark. Their first trip into the town's single-street center was an exercise in polite but distant observation. The woman behind the counter at the only general store offered a thin, practiced smile.
Welcome to Harmony Creek.
As they left, an old man sitting on a bench outside the post office paused his whittling. He simply watched them walk by, his gaze steady and unreadable. The baker, flour dusting his apron, met their curious glances with a blank expression and then turned away. The town felt clean and orderly, but a strange, invisible wall seemed to shimmer around it, keeping them just on the outside.
That house is haunted.
Just old stories.
The first night in Willow End was defined by its profound quiet, a stark contrast to the city hum they had left behind. The old house settled around them, its wooden bones creaking and groaning like the hull of an ancient ship navigating a forgotten sea. Sam, usually so brave, insisted on sleeping in a makeshift bed on the floor between his parents. It was a little after 2 in the morning when a soft, rhythmic tapping sound woke Maya from a light sleep. Tap, tap, tap. It seemed to be coming from the main hallway, just outside their bedroom. She sat bolt upright, her heart thumping, the only other sound the slow, steady tick of the alarm clock. The tapping stopped as abruptly as it had begun. She held her breath, listening. Morning light did little to erase the night's strangeness. While carrying a box downstairs, Maya noticed something on the floor wallpaper lining the staircase. It was a small, perfect handprint, rendered in a fine layer of gray dust. It was too small to be Tom's. It was too high up for Sam to have made it.
I didn't, he insisted, barely a whisper.
Maya frowned and wiped the dusty print away. At the little market, a woman with bird-like features and a severe bun paused while weighing their apples.
Strange things happen up at Willow End, she said. It's not a place for a family. You should think about leaving while you still can.
Tom offered a polite smile and shook his head. We'll be fine, thank you.
Tom picked it up, said hello, and then listened. There was only a soft crackling hiss, and beneath it, a tinny melody of a lullaby they had never heard before. The tune was simple, childlike, and deeply unsettling. It was a ghost, he mouthed, pale. Maya quickly hung up the phone. The strange occurrences began to escalate, weaving into their new life. Footsteps, heavy and deliberate, echoed from the attic above their bedroom at night. He hoped for a raccoon, or loose floorboards. The beam revealed old trunks, forgotten furniture, and a large, ornate mirror. Its surface was strangely fogged. A shape moved behind the glass and vanished. He let out a short, nervous laugh. Small acts of domestic chaos, like a deliberate campaign to make them unwelcome. The townspeople amplified the feeling. They watched with unnerving curiosity. Boot prints led from the dark woods across the lawn and stopped just short of the back porch. That night, their tense dinner was interrupted by a low, mournful sound from outside. Figures draped in pale, billowing sheets advanced up the path, lanterns casting long, dancing shadows. Pots and pans clanked. Sam scrambled under the table. Tom stood frozen, anger rising. Maya gathered her courage and opened the door.
Under a mournful wail, muffled chuckle.
It was the baker, and one by one they revealed themselves. The old man from the post office, the sharp-eyed market woman, a dozen familiar faces.
Why? Why would you do this to us? To our son?
We are a small community. We're afraid of being changed. New people bring new ideas, new problems. We want our town to stay the same.
They looked down, ashamed but resolute. Maya thought of their unpacked boxes, the garden plans, the life they'd envisioned. It wasn't a ghost that haunted Willow End, it was fear, a haunting they could never hope to exorcise. The decision was made in silence. No argument, no debate. You couldn't reason with this kind of fear. You couldn't raise a child where every neighbor was a potential tormentor. While the townspeople watched, shame and a strange relief. By midnight, the car was loaded. They drove away without a single look back. Harmony Creek stood silent. The house on the hill was empty once more. Weeks later, in a noisy, anonymous city, Maya would wake, convinced she could hear a faint tapping from the hallway. Tom never mentioned the fogged mirror in the attic. Sam had nightmares, not of ghosts, but of people in white sheets. They tried not to talk about Harmony Creek, to seal it away like a bad dream. They had escaped the town, but a small, cold piece of the town had followed them. They had been part of a story, an ending written long before they arrived. The house was a stage, and the townspeople the directors of a play designed to have only one outcome. Back in Harmony Creek, life went on, slow and undisturbed. The leaves fell from the willow trees. A blanket of early winter frost covered the ground. One evening, a traveler glanced up at the hill. He saw a single warm light burning in an upstairs window of the empty house. For a moment, a figure stood perfectly still, watching the road below. It might have been a trick of the light, a shadow cast by a swaying branch, or someone else, someone the town didn't know about. The house on the hill waited patiently, and down below, unseen in the quiet darkness, something else waited with it.